What's up? What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel, Sports, Life, and Politics TV. I'm Samuel Campo, and I'm here for the sports news. And today, we're going to be going over the New York Giants' last playoff game and going forward, their game against the Philadelphia Eagles that's coming up this Saturday at 8:15 p.m. on Fox. Now, last week, I predicted that the Minnesota Vikings would beat the New York Giants with a late game drive. Kirk Cousins played decently. The Vikings defense, they were god awful. But that's because Daniel Jones showed up and showed out. Daniel Jones reminded me a lot of Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco didn't show a lot in the regular season. But all of a sudden, when the playoffs came on and he hit the field, all of a sudden everything came together for him. Last week, Joe Flacco ran for 70-plus yards, threw for over 300 yards, had some touchdown passes, and he was phenomenal last week. Saquon Barkley ran well. The offensive line played well. And I said in the video last week in the preview, the New York Giants is one of the most well-coached teams in the NFL. They play hard. They play together. They're not going to beat themselves. You're going to have to beat them. Period, point blank. Now, moving forward, going against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles is a juggernaut. On defense, they have Sweat. I think it's Reddick. The two defensive tackles were responsible for 18 sacks on the interior line. Fletcher Cox had 7. Hargrove had 11. Don't forget they traded for Robert Quinn. They have fantastic cornerbacks in Darius Slayton Jr. The Philadelphia Eagles are loaded. Offensively, obviously, A.J. Brown, the trade with the Titans, he's been phenomenal. Devontae Smith, sensational. Big Goddard, the tight end. Hell of a tight end. He had 700, almost 800 yards this season. Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has been fantastic this year. Quarterback play out of Philadelphia Eagles. Phenomenal. MVP candidate. Offensive line, one of the best in the NFL. The Philadelphia Eagles, from top to bottom, are absolutely loaded. They have designed quarterback runs. They run the ball with the running backs very well. They have top-notch wide receivers. They have a fantastic tight end. They coach very well. But they're playing against a divisional opponent in the New York Giants. Now, anytime you play a divisional opponent, it's always a little scary because you play these teams 2 times every single year. And these teams really don't have a lot of fear of each other. You might come into the game thinking the New York Giants don't have a snowball's chance in hell. But the New York Giants truly believe they can beat the Philadelphia Eagles just because they're familiar with them. That familiarity, being familiar with one another, that breeds confidence. And the New York Giants are extremely confident that they can beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, will they beat the Eagles? That's a whole nother ball game. In order to beat the Eagles, these are some of the things the Giants have to do. They have to tackle really well. None of that yak. No run after yards after the catch. Penalties. You have to keep your penalties down. Turnovers. You can't be getting them strip sack fumbles, man. You cannot turn the ball over in these playoff games. You just cannot do it. That'll kill you. And a big-time special teams play. You always need that. You punt the ball, and all of a sudden you was able to strip the ball and cause a fumble. A big return out of nowhere. You need those type of plays in these type of moments to win this type of game against a team that's as talented as the Philadelphia Eagles. Because the Philadelphia Eagles are absolutely loaded. Like I said, from top to bottom. They're going to get after Daniel Jones. But Daniel Jones, They have to have quick passing, some screens, some design quarterback runs, but I don't know if that's going to be enough for the New York Giants. I really don't. But I think this game is going to be a lot closer than when they played last time in the regular season. The Eagles absolutely demolished them, ran them off the field. But I think this will be more of a fight. But the Eagles will pull away late, put the Giants away. 28-17, Eagles. First game of the NFC. Then we have the biggest game of the NFC. You have the Dallas Cowboys going up against the San Francisco 49ers. I remember growing up as a kid in middle school, and I was in California, and most of my friends was 49er fans. And then I had a few friends who was Cowboy fans. And when we came back onto the scene in the early 90s, remember the San Francisco 49ers was the most dominant team coming out of the 80s going into the early 90s. They had already won 4 Super Bowls. I think it was 3 Super Bowls in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. And they were dominant, coming from Joe Montana to Steve Young, Jerry Rice, John Taylor. I mean, the list goes on and on of the amount of talent that the San Francisco 49ers had going into that game. And everybody thought the Dallas Cowboys was just a young upstart, and they had no chance going into San Francisco and winning that game. But Dallas somehow was able to pull that out and show that they were the far superior team, the more talented team. And San Francisco was extremely talented, but Dallas had that offensive line, that defensive line with Russell Maryland, Tony Tolbert, and just the list. I mean, Ken Norton Jr. at linebacker and James Washington at safety. And oh man, they just had a very talented team. Emmitt Smith was came into his own. Michael Irvin was a monster. Jay Novacek, Troy Aikman, Nate Newton, just guy after guy on the Dallas Cowboys. They ended up dominating the San Francisco 49ers in that game and going on to the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl in Pasadena against the Buffalo Bills. Now, last season, the Dallas Cowboys played the San Francisco 49ers. The Dallas Cowboys had 14 penalties. Completely undisciplined football. San Francisco was able to win that game 23-17. But you cut those penalties in half and Dallas wins that game. The Dallas Cowboys last year was a better team than the San Francisco 49ers. But the San Francisco 49ers were better coached than the Dallas Cowboys. And the San Francisco 49ers players were more disciplined than the Dallas Cowboys players. Period, point blank, no matter how you slice it. Deebo Samuels, a monster. Brandon Ayuk had a sensational season this year. George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. McCaffrey, one of the most versatile backs in the NFL. It's not even close. They're starting a third-string quarterback in Brock Purdy. Their other 2 quarterbacks were hurt. And he came in, and he hasn't missed a beat. The San Francisco 49ers are on an 11-game winning streak. They're hotter than a parked car in the middle of July with the windows rolled up in Phoenix, Arizona. They are blazing hot right now. The San Francisco 49ers on paper are better than the Dallas Cowboys on paper. If it was Madden, the Dallas Cowboys would be an overall 89. The San Francisco 49ers would be an overall 93. I ain't saying the gap is that far. I'm not saying they're just way leaps and bounds above the Cowboys, but they are a better team. There's no doubt about that. Frank Warner at linebacker. This guy you see on the screen, Bosa, he's an absolute monster. Led the league in sacks with 18 sacks. He's a killer. Tre'Davious Ward, the cornerback, number 7. He got torched a little bit last week, but he's a hell of a cornerback. Greenlaw, linebacker. These boys are flying around at the ball. For San Francisco to win this game, they just have to be San Francisco. Period, point blank. The only thing that I see that's a hole in San Francisco is they're playing with a third-string quarterback who's never faced any NFL adversity. He's been just as comfortable as a pie in the sky. I mean, everything has gone right. If this was a relationship for Brock Purdy, it would be puppy love. No, I love you more. No, I love you more. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. He ain't been in the argument yet. He ain't went to get something to eat and asked her, did she want something to eat? And she said no. And when he got back, she wants something to eat. I want something off his plate. Everything is perfect right now for Brock Purdy. He ain't had the strip sack fumble. He ain't throwed the pick six. He ain't been down 17-0. Nothing has went wrong for him yet. Now for the Dallas Cowboys, on the other hand, Michael Parsons, the Wolf Hunter, Van Der Esch, the safety, number 6, Wilson. He has been a heat-seeking missile the whole season. DeMarcus Lawrence. These guys got to show up to play and put pressure on this guy from the beginning of the game. You cannot allow the San Francisco 49ers to pound the ball down your throat. You cannot do it. And I don't mean that in a porno way for you sickos. You can't allow them to pound the ball down your throat. You cannot allow the San Francisco 49ers to pick up first down after first down, and all of a sudden you hit Kittle, and then all of a sudden you run 2 more times, then you throw a screen to McCaffrey, and then you hit Ayuk, and then all of a sudden Deebo Samuel shoots out the backfield, and all of a sudden your ass is down 13-0, and then 13-0 turns into 20-0 and 20. You know what I mean? You can't have that. So for the Dallas Cowboys, the keys to victory for the Dallas Cowboys, the same for the Giants. They're the underdog. Your penalties have to be low. Your turnovers have to be low. Like if you do turn it over, goddamn it, you better be forcing a turnover. You better equalize that shit. You cannot afford, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, come in with the shenanigans you came in with last year. This past game against Tampa Bay, yes, they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they were better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on every level. Tampa Bay's been bad all season. You can't bank on that if you Dallas. You got to come in with a new attitude, more aggressiveness, and understand this is going to be a dogfight from start to finish. The 49ers have so many weapons on offense. You have to come to play. We need Trayvon Diggs not to be gambling. You need to play good, solid defense. A pass breakup is just as good as an interception in this game. Yes, I would love a pick. I want a pick. But it can't be on no gambling shit. It cannot be. These people get after the quarterback. These people stuff the run. They only giving up like 70 yards a game. So you have to come in and be dedicated to the run. For the Dallas Cowboys, you got to run the ball 30-plus times. I said it last week. I picked the Cowboys to win. I said for the Cowboys to win last week, they have to run the ball 30-plus times. It's not the yards, it's the attempts. You have to slow down the pass rush by running the football. You cannot get pass happy and go pass crazy. I don't care if you get down 10-0. I don't care about none of that. You have to be dedicated to the run. Period, point blank. Dak Prescott, he was sensational last week. What people don't realize is Dak Prescott is a play-action quarterback. He's a little bit better than Garoppolo. What I mean by that is, yes, he had 3 touchdowns. He looked good. But the Dallas Cowboys ran the ball 35, 36 times last week. You go look at Dak Prescott when he loses and look how many times they run the ball, you'll see what I'm talking about. The Dallas Cowboys have to run the rock, stay low on penalties, and they need a big special teams play too. And I don't know what's going on with the kicker, but he missed 4 extra points, and I don't think this is the time to be bringing in kicker. That's a scary situation. He's been good all season. You basically have to chalk it up as a bad game. It didn't cost him, but that's a scary situation for the Cowboys. That's a really scary situation for the Cowboys. Is that goddamn kicking game. What if it comes down to the end and he shanks some shit? You down 23-21 and this man kicks the ball and it's a 40-yard field goal and he shanks that shit. That's what you can't. That'd be devastating for the Cowboys. Who knows you ever recover from that? Tony Pollard. He's been a monster all season. You need a big play out of Tony Pollard. A big player too. I ain't talking about picking up. I'm talking about where he scores some shit. He takes some shit. You going up against McCaffrey. That's somebody that you equivalent to. You know what I mean? Like, far as big plays, McCaffrey obviously is better than Pollard, but Pollard can make big plays. He's fast out the backfield. Pollard, if you put Pollard on the San Francisco 49ers, he can do a lot of the things that McCaffrey can do. But it's all about calling the right plays at the right time and making sure that you're not penalized where it's 3rd and 18 or 2nd and fucking 17. You can't have that if you're Dallas, because people say, oh, it's the coaching. No, it's not the coaching. The players is putting the coaching in a bad position. He can't call great plays when you're behind on the downs. That kills drive. Penalties are drive killers, just like turnovers. So for the Dallas Cowboys, you have to put Brock Purdy in a tough relationship. It's time for some arguing. It's time for some rolling over in the bed and showing your back. Yeah, it's time for some shit where the relationship ain't like it used to be. Shit's been way too easy for him. He hasn't faced no adversity. And I don't mean in life. Obviously, playing quarterback and make to the NFL, that's a lot of adversity. But I'm talking about as far as the NFL, they're on 11-game winning streak. So you want a strip sack fumble. You want him questioning himself. You want his teammates start questioning him. Is he ready for this? Is this too big for him? Because right now, man, he's snug as a bug in a rug in the middle of the winter, man. He comfortable as hell. But the Dallas Cowboys versus San Francisco 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers, they're a better team. What is my prediction on this game? I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers. 28-24. Dallas Cowboys will have a chance in the fourth quarter. Will Dak Prescott take advantage of it? We'll see. Most people say, I am from Dallas and I root for the Cowboys, but I gave up fandom a long time ago. I'm not a fan of nobody, no man, or no team. I root for the team. I hope for the best, but I'm not a fan no more. A fan is just a sharper fanatic. I'm not delusional. I'm not coming out here, oh, this, that. I think the Dallas Cowboys will have a chance to win this game. But the San Francisco 49ers, when you look at it, Ayuk and Kittle and McCaffrey and goddamn Jennings and just Debo Samuels, they're absolutely loaded. And the only weakness is that quarterback. But they run the ball. So he's so comfortable off play action like Dak was last week. He's been doing that shit since he became the starter, since Garoppolo got hurt. So for the Dallas Cowboys, we don't know. If you root for the Cowboys or you're a Cowboy fan, you don't know. We wishy-washy with the run. Sometime we will, sometime we won't. Is Zeke the starter or is Pollard the starter? Will the offensive line show up? Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Will Parsons get a set? We don't. It's a lot of unanswered questions with the Cowboys. But the beauty of the playoffs is you get a chance to answer those questions. But I like the Niners, 28-24. I appreciate you guys tuning in, man, watching the videos. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I just took your ass on the San Francisco versus Dallas Cowboys 1992 ride. Peace.